So first up, we've got Cecilia, who has put on her extra courage boots and her big girl pants and is here with us tonight. Do you want to unmute yourself, Cecilia?
I have, I think.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Lovely,
okay.
lovely, lovely to see you here. Well done. Well done. This is the difficult bit. I'll take it from here, Cecilia.
Okay, great. Well, you carry on then. I'll just listen.
You've got the Aurora Borealis behind you, which looks very nice as well.
Yeah, I quite like that bit too.
So I know a lot of times when it comes to being coached kind of live in front of a group and that sort of thing, sometimes people feel a little nervous at first and that sort of thing. And if that's going on for you, that's totally fine because I'll take it nice and easy. But my guess is you've also given it a lot of thought. And so having given it a lot of thought, what is it that you want to have happen as a result of this session, Cecilia?
I want to become unstuck. Okay. And I want to go back to being me.
Oh, well, that sounds good. I like the sound of that. And just so I can be on the same page as you, how will you know that you're unstuck and back to being you?
I will take action.
Got it. So what has stuck looked like until now?
Well, I can tell you how it feels. It feels like I've got lead in my boots.
Got it.
Really difficult to move. I feel like I'm frozen in aspic or something, and I can't get any further with my work, my business. And I can't blame it on the lockdown. But that seems to have exaggerated it a bit. It's been like this for about 18 months, I think.
Oh, golly.
Well, I think it was an accumulation of things that happened and that I sort of just lost my confidence.
Oh.
Normal stuff, you know, people die and people get ill and all those sorts of things, stuff that happens to everybody. But it all seemed to come at once. And yeah. I went from being really busy with work and loving it, lots of clients, fantastic. And it almost felt like overnight, it was really hard work. And I'd never found it hard work before. I'd always found it a real pleasure.
Oh, when you said about people died, people close to you? Mm-hmm. How close?
My parents, both my parents died.
Okay. So just take a breath. Because, I don't know, for a lot of people, having both their parents die could be described as kind of a big deal. And here's the thing I know about people when they're dealing with grief is that everyone has their own way of doing it. And it looks different on everyone. Looks different on everyone. And see, I kind of think there are two things. There are two things. One is getting back to being you. And then the other is doing or not doing whatever it makes sense to do or not do from that place. Now, here's the thing. I don't know this for sure, Cecilia, but is it possible that what you've been describing as stuck is actually wisdom in action in some way?
Yeah, very possibly. In some ways, this has sort of manifested itself really recently as well, in that feeling so stuck, I was trying to galvanize myself into action and was probably going a bit nuts, going into overdrive to try and compensate in some ways, if you like. And I that probably increased when we got the lockdown, because I wasn't mixing with my usual circle of friends and people in work and things like that. And now it's just me and my husband, who's a raging introvert, and I'm a raging extrovert, in the house 24/7.
Yeah, so it's basically this is the best time of his life and the worst time of yours. I get it.
Something like that, yeah. And I sort of went into overdrive and really overdid it, trying to get new clients, looking into different elements of my work and stuff, and thinking, oh, that's rubbish. We change this, change that. And then I just had to stop a few days ago because I ended up with a raging migraine, which I haven't had for years. And then the last 3 days, I think I've just slept. And actually knowing that I was going to be on this call, I slowed down even further because I thought, actually, this is a really good time to just reset and find what being me means now.
Yeah. Well, the thing that occurs to me, and I didn't know about your parents, Cecilia. So the thing that occurs to me is that, in life, there are transitions that are kind of, you could say, they're universal transitions. So, for instance, getting married or finding a life partner, that's a universal transition. Leaving school, getting your first job, that's a universal transition. Not so common, but leaving work and starting your own business, that's a transition. Retiring, that's a transition. Losing a loved one, that's a transition. Losing a parent, that's a transition. Having a child, that's a transition. These are all transition points. And there's a guy called William Bridges who wrote a beautiful short book called Transitions. Good last name for someone writing a book called Transitions, eh? And he made a point in that book, which I thought was so profound. He said, change is circumstantial. Transition is psychological. Change is circumstantial. Transition is psychological. So your mom and dad dying, that's a change. But the loss of your parents, that's a transition. And so there's a question. There's a question that occurs to me. And I don't know, I could be putting 2 and 2 together and making 5 here. But it sounds to me at least possible that you've been going through a transition following the loss of your parents, and that there's something new to discover about who you are now becoming and what you are now bringing into the world and all of that.
I think that's very valid, and not to try and pile things on top of.
Go for it.
My parents and stuff, but not long after they died, and they didn't die both together, sort of things. There was a year or so's gap, but not long after all of that, which I thought I'd assimilated somehow, got a handle on it. My husband was very seriously ill, and he still is to an extent, but he's much better than he was. So there was a real domino effect of quite big things happening.
Yeah.
And at the time, my business, my work side of things, I think kept me going, really, because I love my clients, I love my work, and that was also going on in the background. It never stopped until, quite recently, when we had all this hoo-ha with my diary clearing overnight because nobody was working anymore and we were in the middle of the COVID and so on. So yes.
Oh, I'm confused. So help me out with this one. What I had understood was that the business trouble had stopped. The business stuff had run into trouble before COVID because of all the stuff. But what I just heard kind of makes a lot of sense to me, because what I just heard was actually my business kept me going. And then we ran into COVID and business dried up overnight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
Now that makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay, good.
Want to know why it makes sense to me?
Please.
I can't help wondering. I can't help wondering if see there's this thing of, business dried up overnight. I get that can happen. But the thing about feeling stuck and not feeling like yourself, that's not about business drying up overnight. That's about something else. And I don't want to be like a dog with a bone on this, because I may not even be right about it. But I can't help thinking that there's like a journey that got started when your parents died and your husband got ill and all that sort of stuff. And thank goodness you had your business to take your mind off it and to put your energy into it and all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, you're thrown into a situation where the processing that's been started has a chance to complete.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's just a hypothesis, and it may be a dodgy hypothesis.
I don't think it's that dodgy at all, to be honest. I think that's making quite a bit of sense. And I'm thinking back to much earlier in my life as well, when, something has happened, call it a crisis, if you like, in some way, but a big interrupter, if you like, of your normal pattern. And just over the last few days, when I really did sort of grind to a halt physically, and with these repeated migraines, and was just forced to lie down really and relax and forget about work and everything else, and panicking about not having any work and all that, and just forced to relax. And what you just said a moment ago reminded me of when I had similar, well, I think transition's a good word for it, actually, many moons ago, when I was in a different career completely and very unhappy in it. And interestingly, you've just reminded me, I had a similar physical reaction to what I've had in the last few days. I had really chronic migraines, couldn't see, had to go to a specialist and everything. I was in my mid-20s at the time, I think. And they thought I'd got MS and all sorts of stuff. But when it came down to it, I was in a job I utterly hated. And as I got out of that, I was right as rain. It was it was definitely just seemed to be a reaction to things happening that I either don't want to happen or I'm struggling to cope with, to manage. And I think that's what's happened over the last few days when I did my dramatic effect and took to my bed with the curtains closed to sort of go, okay, I just need to zone out for a bit.
Yeah.
So in lots of ways, the timing of this call is immensely prescient and appropriate, because I just hadn't thought of it like that before.
And how does it occur to you now that you're thinking about it like that?
There's something, what's going on in my head? There's something about that it's transient, and this sort of fugue, if you like, that I've found myself in over the last few days, well, a couple of weeks really, a bit more than that, not only will pass, it's passing.
Yeah, and the thing that strikes me, you know, the thing that's interesting about migraines is they sure get your attention.
Yeah, they do.
And my take on it, Cecilia, is that like migraines are sort of like usually the kind of the fourth attempt to get your attention, and it's because like you ever see one of those movies like where there's a road closed sign and the person drives through it, and then there's like another road closed sign with a bunch of bollards and they drive through that one, and then there's a danger, you know, road
Yeah.
really in trouble ahead and they drive through that one, and you see them, they're heading towards the edge of a cliff, and then there's like a big set of bumpers that stop them. Well, to my mind, the migraines like the third road closed sign,
Yep.
and it's wisdom in action.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely bang on. Just thinking about all the things I'd been throwing at these problems,
Yeah.
like trying to go through that road closed barrier, um, thinking, oh, I can just push on through this, and completely ignoring the fact that I wasn't sleeping well at all at night. And again, that's not like me.
When?
Well, for the last uh, 3 months.
Okay, so it's been the COVID adjacent.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, really.
What was?
Um, I think the road to Damascus moment was the work I'd got planned for the next 6 months just disappearing overnight.
Right.
So because with that went a hell of a lot of my identity.
Now, so here, a couple of things that occur to me, Cecilia. First thing, you said it was the straw that broke the camel's back. So again, this is the in terms of timeline, what I've got is parents, husband illness. You thought you were over all that, but actually you describe the work drying up as being the straw that broke the camel's back. So something was going on before that. So I'm like, okay, there's something there. But then what you just said was very interesting. My work disappeared and a lot of my identity was tied up in that. Now here's where I'm going to go all spiritual on you.
Okay.
We all have a sense of ourselves, you know, and we say things like, you know, I am a coach, or I'm a therapist, or I'm a mother, or I'm a father, or I'm you know, an employee, or I'm a business owner, or whatever. And these are identity statements. But none of those identity statements is who you really are.
Mm.
None of those
Mm.
is even a shadow of who you really are. And who you really are can't be harmed by the ebb and flow of business, can't be tarnished by lockdowns, can't be damaged by ill husbands or parents passing away or any of those things, because who you really are is before jobs and businesses and all that sort of stuff. So the thing is kind of interesting. Hearing you say I had a lot of identity tied up in my business, there's kind of two directions I could go with that. One direction would be to kind of go, oh, well, let's see if we can build you that again. Let's build some identity out of, uh, uh, vision and passions and experience and that sort of stuff. But there's another direction, which is to realize that who you really are doesn't need any of that in order to be valid, in order to be you. In fact, there's a way in which your efforts to capture those pieces of ego identity that got shaken loose when your business dried up overnight. That was pointing you away from who you really are.
Yes, because it's interesting to me that when I blurted that out to you, I hadn't even considered that before, that
Yeah.
my identity had never occurred to me. And as I was saying it, I was thinking, where did this come from?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to say it, but then I'd said it. So yeah, I definitely think it's the second.
Yeah, well, I think so too. And that's beautiful because, and here's the thing, Cecilia, I'm all in favor of you building a wildly successful practice and doing work you love and all of that. I'm all in favor of that. And I know, like I know my own name, that who you really are doesn't need any of that to be okay. And that you don't need to change a thing in order to feel like yourself again. Yeah, that's right. Like I just noticed right now, I've got a really nice feeling as I talk to you. I don't know, like you tell me, don't let me put words in your mouth. But I wouldn't be surprised if you're already feeling more like yourself. Yeah.
I was just thinking that because as I took that deep breath, that it's been like there's been a brick in my stomach for days. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
And the cool thing is, Cecilia, that I'm up in Nottingham and it's been a beautiful sunny day here today. Clear blue sky. Went out walking in the woods. It was absolutely gorgeous. But yesterday it was cloudy and overcast, but actually the sun was still the same place it always is. It's just there were clouds in the way. And your true nature, your true identity, it has never left you, not even for a heartbeat. It's been there the whole time. It's just that there were clouds in the way. And that's the cool thing is that's why you can you know, we've been talking for 20 minutes and you found your way home to who you really are.
Mm.
And that's because it was right there. And so the reason I mention that is because it's built in. My dear friend and mentor Valda Monroe said, you don't have to put the yolk in the egg. The yolk's already in the egg. And I kind of, it's already there. So it's not like it's something you need to do or practice or remember. It was there the whole time.
Mm. Yeah. It genuinely does feel like a cloud's lifted.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
So here's what I'd like to do, Cecilia. Can you stick around till the end of the call?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm
What's
gonna
stopping me?
put your microphone on mute. I'm gonna grab a drink of water and then I'm gonna go to the next person and then I'll
Sure.
circle back to you towards the end of the call, okay?
Great.
Thanks. That was lovely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So guys, I'm just gonna go grab a drink of water. I will be right back. So how are you doing at this end of the call?
I'm all blue skies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel about a stone lighter, actually.
Now that is my fastest weight loss intervention so far.
It was a good one. No, I genuinely feel, yeah, it's not going to be blue skies forever, but I genuinely feel that the clouds will float across and they'll pass, and I can even waft them out the way sometimes and give them a hand.
Well, here's the funny thing. Even when the clouds are a half a mile thick, the sky's still blue. The sky's still blue.
Mm.
The sun's still out.
Yeah.
Are you able to join us for next week's call?
I sure am.
I'm looking forward to seeing where we're at in a week's time.
Yeah.
Cecilia, if you feel inspired to do so, just post in the group as the week unfolds and let us know how you're doing.
Will do.
All
Thank
right.